What up, too? This your boy Stacks. Got that video for y'all one more time. Didn't hit y'all with them one of them waggedy wag raps, but I'm back, y'all. Just want to give y'all a little video today. Sorry to give y'all some history, but we're gonna have history class today, guys. Yes, we're gonna have history class in the coin stacking community. Yes. Reason we're gonna have history because when you look at these coins, there's a lot of history into these coins and bullion. So, but we're just gonna jump right into it. Let's get our history on. Let's go, guys. So I got two coins today. This one we all know about. This is your your Franklin half dollar. That is clearly Benjamin Franklin. And so the history about Mr. Franklin is, what did he always tell us? Penny saved is a penny earned. I told y'all another video about what it actually means, but you save one and it should double tomorrow. So that's your first history lesson. So we all know about that. We've been taught that long ago, way back when we knee high to a grasshopper. So we know that history. This gentleman, one of our forefounders of our country, of the United States of America, his idea was penny saved, penny earned. So a lot of us that's in the stacking and prepping and just being financial savvy, we understand that. We take that into heart. You know what I'm saying? That's one of our basic guidelines. So, but like I said, I've been trying to get a lot of new stackers into this community. I got a lot of people that follow me and ask me what I do and why I do and how I do and all this kind of good stuff, and their interests are into it. But it's still taking a little more convincing for them to actually put their foot in the water and go on and test it out. So I'm gonna give you a little history lesson why a lot of us should be doing this anyway. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into it. We know about the 50-cent pieces. There's been different designs. Some are more commemorative than others. This is more of a circulation piece back in the day. What year is this? This is a 1961. You'll see there by my thumb. But it's a 1961. This was actually made for business use, basically for commerce, for everyday usage for you and I to put in our pockets back in the day. So that's that, and it is a half dollar. Let me do that a little better. Well, you can kind of see it with these gloves. Sorry, I'm trying to use gloves instead of my ugly fingers, but it says it there. It's a half dollar. Okay, so now another thing, a lot of you guys didn't know, there was a black gentleman on the coin before. It wasn't for a business strike. It wasn't for everyday use, but it is 90% silver. And it is more of a commemorative. The United States government does a lot of commemorative coins. So just to highlight notable times in our history. So they do certain commemorative coins so often. So up until about 3-4 years ago, I'm still fairly new to this. So that would be still early on into my stacking. So I run across a coin I never known before, had never seen before, didn't know it existed, and but now every time I see these or I run across these, I do my best to purchase them if I can afford them, because the regular quote unquote business circulated strikes, you get $25-$30, but if they're in good condition, they're a couple $100 a piece, and if you get the whole set, you spend at least $500 for 3 coins. So anyway, let's get into it. What is the coin of the day? It is the Booker T. Washington commemorative. Yes, that's Booker T. Washington. I need better lighting. Let's see if we can get some better light up in here. There we go. See. Okay, believe me, it says Booker T. Washington. Here's the reverse of the coin. Has his actual home that he grew up in as a slave. So anyway, Booker T. Washington, for y'all that don't know, grew up as a slave. By the time he got around adult age, this is the free stacks version. Okay, Booker T. Washington, born as a slave. That's his house on the back. By the time the Emancipation Proclamation, the slaves were freed. this gentleman took the opportunity as a young freed black man to try to help educate the freed slaves, because he was fortunate enough to have education and spoke well. So not only was he trying to uplift our people and make this transition from slavery to freedom, he also he was an assistant. That's not the right word, but he also assisted in a couple with a lot of politicians and even presidents back in the day. Like I said, this is the Free Stacks version. So anyway, but he started the Tuskegee Institute, that school. But the main point that I want to drive home to you guys, that has a lot to relate to stacking and self-preservation and entrepreneurship and generational wealth, trying to survive, not just getting out of a bad situation, but not only to get out of a bad situation and put yourself in a better situation, but to maintain a great situation, not only for yourself, but generations to come after you, your generations to come after you, your family, your bloodline. So, but that was one thing that Mr. Booker T. Washington did advocate. He wanted our freed slaves, the newly freed slaves, to quote unquote be like the white man, and he didn't. And unfortunately, that wasn't received too well by a lot of the African Americans that were freely enslaved, because they say, "Well, we want to be like the people that just kept us in captive." But what Mr. Booker T. Washington was trying to get them to understand was, with the correct education and the proper tools, you can get ahead. But the best way to get ahead is to mimic people that are doing the things that are better, that are making them better. So if you want to do better, you kind of basically got to mimic the people that are doing better. So if you want to survive, who are you going to look at? Who are you going to listen to? Some people that's been captive and struggling and okay, they may know how to survive with a slave mentality, or you want to learn how to survive with these free people that's already been making money and living a free life, so they already know how the free world works. So the best way to make that transition, you got to have a little balance of both sides of that fence. And so Booker T. Washington was trying to get our people to understand that. And unfortunately, it wasn't until after he passed that the people didn't fully understand what he was trying to say. Basically, he was a little ahead of his time, because by the time he passed, but while he was alive, trying to get everyone to follow his lead and understand that we need to mimic what these slave owners were doing, because to run a good business, to be self-sufficient and to be an entrepreneur, you got to have the business skills. So who are you going to get the business skills from? Unfortunately, yes, from some of the people, some of the same people that held you captive at the time. But it wasn't until after he passed, Mr. Booker T. Washington passed, that the people actually realized, understood what he was trying to say. So it's the same. It's that basic term, that basic cliche. Can't beat them, join them. So until you can beat them, you gotta join them, so you can know what they doing, how they do it, and at least be to their level. And then once you're on that level, when you're on the same level, at the same playing field, then you try to do your own thing and figure out other ways to make it better. But you got to at least be on the same playing field first. So if you don't have the education, if you don't have the know-how, if you're not learning how to be successful as an entrepreneur, then how are you going to do it on your own? It's going to be a lot harder doing it by yourself. So if you turn to the right people and look to the right people and listen to the right people and do the right things, it's a lot easier for you. So that's your history lesson for the day. Booker T. Washington. Get your own. Learn how to get your own. You can't get it by yourself. You gotta look you gotta refer to somebody else. You gotta lean on somebody else because you won't know everything on your own. Believe that. It took a long time for me to stumble across this bullion stacking. As much as I loved it growing as a kid, we all want the gold and the silver. That's basic economics. Gold and silver. That's the foundation of every economy. That goes way back to before we even had paper money. So your gold and silver, that's your basic economic structure right here. Everything, gold and silver. So why would you not have gold and silver in your portfolio? This is the currency that stood all times, even before slavery, during slavery, before the United States. So half of the discovery of the New World was, especially with the Spaniards, was looking for the riches, the gold and the silver. So, you know, this. So get your history lesson. Make sure you do for yourself, and one way to make sure you do for yourself and have that generational wealth after you is to start collecting your precious metals, to actually invest in yourself. So I hope I didn't ramble too much in this video, but this is just something to give a lot of my people a different angle to look at this thing. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some things we don't know, and until somebody else tells us, we'll never know. So that's why you gotta like, share, and subscribe, and send this around and let everybody know. We don't have to keep that slave mentality. It was always, even from day one when we was free, we had somebody there to try to help us get out there and maintain our wealth. So we have the tools. We have to do it. We have to read upon it. And we've come a long ways from about 200 years ago. So we can do things now, and you know, we're not as handcuffed, we're not shackled down anymore. So let's break free and do like we supposed to, and bring up our communities, support one another, and our families. So one good way to do it is to make sure you always keep some value. Make yourself valuable. Free stacks, I'm out. Y'all keep stacking.